I started volunteering.
It's all about who you know in sport.
Am I going to be calling the last 10 seconds of the grand final?
You can connect with the interviewer. The hand goes up when they've got to make a decision.
Having a network is one of the most important things you can do.
I didn't necessarily follow my passion. I followed my curiosity.
Once you've worked in sport, there's no going back.
And then lo and behold, before I left, I got offered 2.
Hello and welcome to the SportsGrad Podcast, the ultimate guide to make it in the sports industry. I'm Ryan Walker. Joining me is the tour guide, Reuben Williams. We are two mates who met at Cricket Australia back in the day, and each week we learn how people made it in sports. We tease out their career decisions, their work habits, skills, and everything they do that makes them great, also that you can learn how to get in, get promoted, and get thriving in the sports industry. Rubinho, the tour guide.
The tour guide, yes. We are. Is that in reference to our India trip coming up?
Absolutely it is. Yeah, it's starting to heat up. It's starting to get really close on us. And I actually thought I need to get a visa, by the way.
Yes, I have made that mistake before and it's not worth waking again.
And that is exactly why I'm saying I need to do it. I need to do it because I don't want to arrive in the country without one. So
Yes.
Anyway, how are you going, mate?
I'm good, mate. I've had one of the ultimate weekends, which I know we've chatted off air and you regrettably weren't there, unfortunately. But I have to share with the listeners that I've had one of the highlights of my life.
All right, let's get it done.
So, for those who were following the podcast last year, would have heard some of my travels in Europe and how some connections with SailGP led to an epic weekend in Saint-Tropez, and connections through internships literally 7 years ago led to the corporate box at Wembley with Sam Kerr. Well, another moment has happened. And if you've ever thought of should I network, should I not network? Well, then hopefully this story convinces you that it's a good idea to know people.
Yeah.
So we work out of the Commons co-working space here in Cremorne, Melbourne. And one day there's a new guy who rocks up. He's from Great Britain. His name's Jason. Gets plonked at the desk next to us. And we start chatting. Turns out he's the brand manager for Lando Norris. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good, cool job.
Just casually.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, so that night we have a meetup event on. He comes downstairs. He's the last person to leave. Absolutely loves it. And for the next 6 months or so, we sit side by side, keep chatting. He was working UK time. I work pretty late. So we spent a lot of time together at night just kind of working alongside each other and became great friends. He moves back to the UK, comes back to Australia for the Grand Prix this year. And at the last minute, on the day that I arrive at the Australian Grand Prix, he says to me, Reuben, I've got a Paddock Club pass if you want to come and hang out in the McLaren garage. And at this point, we were going to go together. You had the option to be there.
Yeah.
And I was expecting nothing of the sort when I was walking in. And, we've been in the Grand Prix before, so we know what to expect. So I would have forgiven you. I forgave you for not wanting to go along because it seemed like another Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I arrive at the Grand Prix and Jason says, Reuben, Paddock Club pass is on. Come and meet me here. I take the pass. He walks me straight into the McLaren garage. There's Lando sitting over a laptop analysing some data. All the engineers are running around. I walk out into the pit lane. I see half the Australian cricket team who are walking back off the grid because their VIP passes have given them a tour of the track. Like the who's who of the world.
Seems like a really average setup.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we come back in. All the VIPs disappear, but not the people who've got this little, part of the team pass. So me and Jason are hanging out in the garage when the race begins. And, there's a few VIP people who, as part of their package, they get a tour down to the garage and they get taken back up 10 minutes later. But not Jason and I. We're there for the whole thing.
No, you're part of the team.
We're part of the team. So I watched the start of the Grand Prix from the garage with McLaren. 10 minutes later, Piastri pits. The whole room jumps up, grabs a tyre, grabs a drill.
Yeah.
A car arrives. 2 seconds later, it's gone. You're seeing it literally from 5 meters away. And then after the race, I'm hanging out in the McLaren sort of back of house tent, and you're just sitting there like watching people go past.
Yeah.
Ferrari's right next to us. So all of a sudden, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, who've had
the boys.
Yeah, have had a 1-2 finish, rock up with their trophy. There's a team principal. They got the board with the places at the front. And they start doing their team photo and celebration. And, Charles Leclerc, I almost had to give him a hug to hide him from the champagne shower that was coming his way.
I'll protect you, Carlos.
Yeah.
Don't worry, mate.
But then, so that like you see everyone, you see Christian Horner, you see Daniel Ricciardo, like everybody's just floating around there. It's amazing. That night, like I go to get Jason and I we'd arranged to go get dinner afterwards. So he says to me, Reuben, it's now time to go. Let's leave. And he's going in the car with Lando back to the hotel. So I leave with Lando's posse going out. And I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't ready for this part. But we walk out of the Paddock Club through the gates and we turn right onto Melbourne Way, which is the driveway where fans can come up to the barrier and get close to the drivers. And it's about 7 p.m. at this point, and we turn right onto Melbourne Way, and straight away I look up and there's about 1,000 fans like crowded around this barrier to try and get near any driver who's about to walk past. And I'm standing at the front of the posse with Jason because he's in front of Lando clicking all these photos of him.
Yeah.
And with the formation that we were walking, I ended up being the person at the front and closest to the barrier of the fans. And I realized, holy shit, I need to get out of here real quick. So I just kind of like...
Were you waving?
No.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I should have given him a wave.
Yeah.
So I just like ducked out, hung back, got behind Lando and just got on the opposite side and let him do his thing. But it was like Jason, Lando, his security guard, his dad, like two of his skateboarder mates.
You're like part of the closest crew to him.
And me.
Mates.
And so I did the walk through Melbourne Way whilst everyone's yelling out. Lando gets in the car and off he goes. And I was like, what the hell have I just been a part of?
And the screams disappeared and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
That is insane.
So, that was probably the best, hands down the best Formula One experience I've ever had, but one of the most unique sporting experiences I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. Nice.
All because of the bloke at the co-working space who sat next to us.
Yeah. So chat to your mates when you sit next to them.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know where it's going to go.
Yeah, it pays to meet people.
To give everyone a bit of context, and the episode title for this podcast could almost be the worst day to have a day off because we planned to go, and you're right. I was just kind of thinking, it's just going to be another Grand Prix, and Max was pole. So I was like, he'll probably win. And my parents were over and I was like, let's hang out with them and watch a bit of footy. And I open up my Instagram and I'm like, shit, probably the worst day ever to not go. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But look, there is
I think it's quite funny.
I think so.
You have to see the funny side in this.
Yes.
And, there was only one Paddock Club pass.
Yeah.
So I was probably...
We could have split it. That's it.
Yeah.
But...
it's just incredible, though. In terms of access, like you've got the best access you could ever get.
Yeah. And so I know, like, that's an amazing, experience. But... and I'm sorry, I'm going to make an example of you. And I know you're a big boy. You can take this. For people who are... I know where you're going to go with this. Yeah, for people listening who keep thinking like, should I network? Is it going to lead to anything? Is it worth it? No, I'll just be safe at home. This is probably the two sides of the coin that any opportunity can lead to.
Look at me right now and be like, just say yes. Say yes.
Yeah.
Especially when the Grand Prix is involved.
Yeah.
I'm never saying no to going to the Grand Prix ever again. Just FYI. I'm going to say that to camera. I will never not go again.
So, if you are ever on the fence about it, just say yes. Nothing will happen 9 times out of 10. But the one time it does happen, you never know where it may lead.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. Hopefully that's inspired everyone to go meet people.
Yeah, absolutely. Little bit closer to home. Community's flying.
Yep.
So many events lately. It's absolutely pumping and vibe has been high, which is the main thing.
Yes.
But we've had some good wins.
Had some great wins. Let's kick it off. Sebastian Gilson has just got a placement role at the South Australian Football Club. Well done to you, Seb.
On you, Seb.
Braith Porteous, Sports Program Officer with the Australian International Sports Organisation. Well done, Braith. And a shout out to the members who worked at the Australian Grand Prix. To name a few, V Trung used to be an intern with us, doing some amazing work on socials. Arvin, Pranav, Andrea, Tim, Athava, and Joel, all very active. The In the Wild channel on our community has just been popping off with some awesome Formula One content. So well done to you guys. And on the events front, we've just had an awesome event today with Shayla Clark from the Richmond Football Club. This came together at the last minute, but she has just resigned from her job. And the beautiful thing about having this connected community is that we can call on members to talk about their previous job so other members can get their job.
It's easy insight.
It's the greatest advantage you'll ever get to landing a job, talking to the person who used to be in it. And so that's what the community is able to
that
do.
Or cold messaging people to understand about their job. You connected.
Exactly. So events coming up, we've got rookie speed networking happening on the 8th, pro speed networking happening on the 11th. Coffee clubs are coming up every Friday morning. Meetups are in the works for May. So if you want to stay up to date with all the jobs that are going on, all the events that are happening, make sure you are on our newsletter list. sportsgrad.com.au/newsletter is where you can subscribe, and you won't miss out on a single thing.
Awesome. Newsletter's popping off lately as well.
It's going well.
It's all going well. Alrighty, well, today a bit of a special episode. We like these episodes. It brings us back to sort of the nostalgic 2020, 2021 vibes where we'd jump on just us two. So we're doing a bit of an episode today to talk about our intake announcement. Obviously, May 14 is coming up. We'll let new members into our community. So absolutely pumped. So we're going to go through just a bit about what that looks like, what it's all about, what you get from being a member, and a few other things. So super exciting. So do you want to give us a rundown, Rubes, and we'll work through the agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who aren't aware of the sports community and what it actually is, the SportsGrad Community is an exclusive membership that gives you access to sports industry networking, learning, and job opportunities. And so our SportsGrad Community is kind of split into two tiers at the moment. We have our rookie tier and our pro tier. So our rookie memberships are for people trying to break into the industry. You could be a student, you could have recently graduated, or you could be a professional looking to make a career change. That's who our rookies are for. And then our pro community is for people working full-time in the industry already. So in terms of how you can become a new rookie member, we do quarterly intakes to welcome new rookie members. And as you mentioned, the next community intake is happening on Tuesday, May 14. And at 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning, doors are going to open for about 48 hours, and then they're going to close again. And they'll be closed for another 3 months until later in August. And so this is the very small window that you have to be a part of our group. If you are already working full-time in sport, you can join at any time. Our pro community is available for people to apply to, and once we validate you, then you get accepted in. So you can go and join that on our website at any time. But for rookies, this is your chance. You got 2 days. Now, the reason why we created the community is because there's a problem with careers in sport. And that is that it's so heavily reliant on your network. It's not like you go and study to be an accountant and then you get picked up by a Big Four accounting firm in your second year of uni and get taken through to partner 25 years later. 80% of jobs in sport live in the hidden job market. And if you're not sure what the hidden job market is, it's literally like, Ryan, you need someone to do a job. You don't want to advertise it publicly, so you just go to who you know, and then you use your current existing networks to fill the job.
Yeah.
So that's why who you know is more important than what you know. And when you have a network around you, you get introduced to these opportunities, and your career just becomes a whole lot easier because you're in the know, you can see what's going on. For example, like one of our earliest members, Clayton Henderson, he's recently just moved on to IMG, but he worked at Golf Australia as a partnerships coordinator for probably 18 months. And the way that he got that job was because Golf Australia reached out to me. Sammy Reuben is the manager there. We went to uni together back in the day, and she said, Reuben, we need a partnerships coordinator. Who have you got? And I sent her one name, Clayton. And he got hired within a couple of weeks.
So good.
Yeah. And
great story.
It is a wonderful story. And so someone who I think has probably articulated this best is one of our previous podcast guests, Donnie Singe, who was the head of high performance at the Manly Sea Eagles. And he's a very straight shooter. He just says it's what it is. And his response to anyone who's like complaining about the fact that sport relies on networks is, and on the episode, his quote is something along the lines of, yes, it's a girls' club. Yes, it's a boys' club. But it's a club of people who know and trust each other based on past experience to do specific jobs And that's why they continue to go back to each other. And so he said, you can either get the shits with the industry or you can be the shit.
Yeah, I remember that. Great quote.
Yeah, it is a great quote. And you see it all the time. Like I remember when my head of department, Finn Bradshaw, left Cricket Australia to go to tennis. He dragged like half the Cricket Australia digital team with him to tennis. And then, some of them went to the AFL and then all the cricket people went to the AFL. So you see it all the time. So you got to be in. Unfortunately, that's the way it works. Now, the next question is like, how do you get in? Well, the hard part is doing it yourself. If you want to go out there and create the networks, it takes a lot of time. And I spent 5 years of like being an undergrad student of trying to do this, where like you're relentlessly messaging people, hoping that 1 in 10 people write back, and then by the time that you get onto them and they are free for a coffee without when they can actually fit you into their busy schedule, it can become like a month between sending a message and actually getting someone.
It's just painful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when you realize like, it's taken me a month to get to this point, I better not screw it up. It's like, it's a high pressure 45 minutes to be like, I better not I better not stuff up this chance I've got to chat with this person in the sports industry. So I know how hard it can be. I've been scared to reach out to professionals in the past. The first time I did it, I had the phone number of this guy called Wayne from the Melbourne Footy Club, punched his phone number into my phone and then proceeded to walk around my backyard for 25 minutes trying to build up the courage to press call. So if you want to go out and, be a part of the boys club, be a part of the girls club, as Donnie puts it, if you're going to do it by yourself, it takes a lot of work. But that is the beauty of being privy to all this information, is that you end up in some incredible situations. For example, once you do cut it into the circles, you end up getting recommended for jobs that you do not know about. You become smarter when you meet new people and you get to gain their perspective from their view of the world. And once you start to grow your network as well, you then start to build this support circle of like-minded people who get it. What you're going through, everyone's been through it before, and so they become a great sounding board. So why are we talking about this? It's because we've built the SportsGrad community to be a much faster and easier entryway into the sports industry than what is currently on offer, and that is going about doing it yourself. So the essence of the SportsGrad community lives in us bringing the network to you. I think on when Apple released the very first iPod, and Steve Jobs got up on stage and said, this is 1,000 songs in your pocket.
Yeah.
Well, the SportsGrad community is like 1,000 connections in your pocket.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I love comparing us to Apple.
Yeah, we're pretty similar.
Basically the same, right?
Exactly right. So, for example, like you join the network, you become part of all the SportsGrad members who are out there. And we cut down the time that it takes to make a new connection in sport from, say, a month doing it by yourself to 45 minutes. For example, last night we had speed networking where, in the space of 45 minutes, you get 7 new introductions and now you've met 7 new people who are now in your network. So 1,000 connections in your pocket is a good way to think of it.
Yeah.
And so when you've got access to, when you become a member and you can access all the benefits of the network that we have, you don't need to send any more cold outreaches. You don't need to get left on scene. You don't need to have to think about what to say. For example, we give you prompts if you want to come to our events, and you're not feeling like you're the only person in your friendship circle who's the one being proactive and networking. I don't know about you, but when I was in university, all my friends didn't need to go to the extent that I did to get a job.
No.
And so they would say like, oh, Reuben, why are you being so like, why are you networking? Like literally, why are you putting yourself out there?
Yeah.
But with us, people get it, people encourage it, and it just becomes a lot easier to do. So, for example, like I mentioned the benefit of like being made privy to jobs that you don't otherwise know about. One of the great stories that came out of the community is from a guy called Lachlan Croft. So he joins a speed networking event one night, and he meets our very first member, Nathan Peroni, who at the time was a casual at the AFL. And Lachlan tells Nathan in the space of 5 minutes that they've got together, I'm looking for a job. Nathan says, well, at the AFL, we're looking for more casuals. And Lockie says, "Oh, I'd love to do that." So Nathan says, "Send me your resume. I'll help you articulate yourself in the way that the AFL wants to see. I'll help you through the interview process because I've been through it before." And 3 weeks later, Lockie's working at the AFL just due to a 5-minute connection that he made on a speed network night in the community. So that's what can happen when you become a member. And when you've got a network around you, not only does your confidence grow, but you begin to start to feel like, all right, the career of your dreams is actually achievable. Your network goes through the roof. I think Ari Davis said to me, one of our members said that he had like 50 new LinkedIn connections within like the first week of joining. And you begin to get offered job after job after job. Once you're in, like people know who you are and people will want to headhunt you time and time again. So there are endless opportunities when you become a member, because once you are in the circle and once people know who you are, then that's where the magic lives. So Lockie's just one example, but there are plenty of others. I think I saw, was it Sam Hickson and Catherine Jeffcock catching up at the EPL the other week?
In London? Perfect. Amazing. Yeah, even, Brant and Brant Hubber, Nathan Proney, good mates. They sort of swap the trophies every now and again with the AFL Premiership Cup and the A-Leagues. You've got some great examples of travelling and relying on members as well, couch surfing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so one of our members, Francisco Garcia, lives in Lisbon. His family does. And I met him at a Sydney SportsGrad meetup, and he said, if you go to Portugal next year, why don't you stay with me and my family? So he gave me a bed for 2 weeks, which is amazing. But Brant Hubber, I love that story about Brant and Nath. Brant's working at the AFL. He gets a hold of the Premiership Cup. Nath's working with West United. They've just won the Premiership toilet seat A-League trophy. And so they do a little swap and bring the top 2 tier football trophies together for a day.
So good. Even Izzy, I forgot Izzy's last name, but Eloise Mullins, shout out to Eloise. Izzy Collins, sorry. Meeting at the Brisbane meetup. They've now joined a footy team together on the committee. Yeah. Just become mates. Amazing. Penelope Roth works at the AO, sort of giving people the opportunity to come behind the scenes and see how the AO happens. And I believe there's love inside the SportsGrad community as well.
I think a few SportsGrad relationships exist. Yeah. I'm not going to say who.
No, we won't. Yeah. One recently that I won't shout out too hard, but I think there's something brewing.
Yeah. So look, there's
you know who you are. You'll be listening.
That's it. So you just never know what might become of being a member. There are opportunities everywhere to couch surf, to make friends, to find a relationship, to go to Premier League games together, to get jobs, to whatever you name it.
Yeah. Hey, the question that I get asked a lot is timing. I get a lot of questions from people saying, should I join now? Should I join in 6 months? When is the right time to join? So do you want to give maybe just some ideas around when the right time is?
Absolutely. When I got made redundant from Cricket Australia, one of the general managers said to me, Reuben, you don't need a network until you suddenly do. And what he meant by that is that you need to have a network ready for when your circumstances change, because the benefits of a network are delayed. Yeah. It takes time for the average member. It takes the average member probably 3 months to really have a humming network that they can lean on. And in my experience doing it alone before SportsGrad existed, it took me years. So to have a network work for you, you have to first find the time to build the relationships, and then you can enjoy the fruits of those relationships, which I believe is at least a year to create that. So let's say you start networking when you finish your study. You may end up with a gap on your resume of a year or more. And that is exactly what happened to our friend Clayton, who we mentioned before he landed at golf. And he said to us, I wish I didn't wait until the end of uni to become a member, because it took me 12 months to find a full-time job in sport. Joining whilst I was in first or second year would have sped up the process. So, for example, if he starts building his network earlier, he can enjoy the fruits of his network when it's time to graduate, rather than having the fruits come to it, a year or so down the track. Yeah. So, in terms of when the best time to join is, you can join whenever you want. But if you don't want a gap on your resume after you graduate, or you want to seamlessly move into another job, or you want to protect yourself against being made redundant, which happened to me, But thankfully, I had a network, and within a week of saying, hey, I need a new job, I had 12 offers to pick between. Then the sooner you start, the sooner you will reap the benefits.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're exactly right. You don't need a network till you suddenly do. And the worst feeling is when, like, all of a sudden you want to get a job, but you've done none of the background work to set yourself up in the right way. So the time to join is now. There's never, don't wait.
That's it. Another question I get often asked in my inbox is it just for people in Australia, or can people overseas join as well?
Absolutely, it's for everybody. So our vision is to create a global community across the world. So no matter where you are in the world, you can rely on a network no matter where you go in sport. So we have plenty of events where we have lots of people joining in from worldwide. I think today we had Josh Cartmell from Canada join. We had Catherine from London. We've got people from all over the globe joining. So whilst, a lot of the jobs that we have in our community are Australian based, the network that we're creating is global. So for that reason, absolutely join. If you're looking to move countries, for instance, we've had so many people who've moved from the UK over to Australia, and because of the network they've got through SportsGrad, they've been able to basically have a few mates as soon as they get here. And the other way around, if you're looking to move, say, from Australia to the UK on the other hand as well, there's people on the ground. So absolutely join. If you no matter where you are in the world, there's people in each city for you to meet. And the concept doesn't change. There's people to connect with no matter where you are that are part of the SportsGrad network. Do you want to run through some features?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think it makes sense. So what about our online events? We always get asked about sort of what ones we're running and how they work.
Yep. Yeah, sure thing. Okay, so online events, we've got a few types. I mentioned speed networking, 45 minutes, 7 to 10 connections, we'll prompt you on what to say. So you don't need to prepare. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to think of what to say. We'll help you know what to chat about and give you the connections on the night. Another one is a job fair. So, for example, last week we had the Victorian Institute of Sport come along. Specifically, we had their Director of People and Culture, Dan Simons, talk about what it's like to work at the Victorian Institute of Sport. So what they do as well, what are the different functions they are, what areas they have the most amount of headcount in, and this can help you know how to position yourself when you apply for the Victorian Institute of Sport. So we did this with the T20 World Cup when it came to town, the FIFA Women's World Cup last year. We've done it with all the major sporting events in Australia, and all the recordings are there. So if you ever want to go back and literally listen to HR managers, often the directors, general managers as well, say, this is who we are, this is what we hire for, then all of that information exists in our job fairs. The other one we have is career Q&As. So we'll get sometimes our podcast guests, sometimes other people working full-time in the industry, come along and just share their career journey, and you get to ask them questions. So, for example, we had Shayla Clark on today talk about her role at Richmond as in fan engagement, and you can ask, what's it like to work in fan engagement? And in her case, ask her, what do I need to do to apply for your job? Because she's moving on. But in the past, we had Vinnie Gorham from Sale GP talk about his role in social media. We had Mark Worthington, who's a player development manager at the Geelong Cats, talk about working in the high performance space. We've had Penny Privet from the AFL talk about what it's like working in data analytics. So those events are for people to come along, tell you about their career. You get to meet them. You can add them to your network on the night because you're chatting with them. You can ask any questions. So just another way that we bring a sports network to you.
Yeah. The other thing we have in there is, which sits on our private Discord channel, are job boards, and we also do recruitment. So our job boards, we've got, I think, 5 of them, categorized into full-time, part-time, casual, internships, volunteers, and they get submitted to us directly from organisations. So when an organisation comes to us and says, we want to post a job, you'll have direct access to that job board, and only members can find that. We also scour the industry. We find some really cool jobs that we think, would be of interest to you guys. So you don't need to spend your time sort of trolling through, 5 or 6 different job boards out there. we'll post them directly in our community. So you've got access right there. From a recruitment point of view as well, a lot of organisations come to us and want us to find them candidates. And of course, we only go with SportsGrad members because we know that you're committed to your career, you're coming to events, you're looking to benefit your career and do all the right things. And you've got a network as well, so we know you're pretty connected and you can go from there. So we've placed plenty of people over the last year or so in some of the biggest organisations across Australia. And we've also got some of our corporate members joining as well. So just recently we had someone, I don't know if I can tell it or not.
Maybe can you anonymise it?
Yeah, I'll anonymise it. But Kojo Sports and Entertainment, I think the full name is. But they're one of our corporate members, and they post all their jobs through SportsGrad, and they were able to find someone within 2 weeks of just posting their job. So you know that if you're in there, you're going to have access to these organisations and all these jobs that are on offer. So we really love our job board. That's where we find all our member wins as well.
And you become part of the pool of people that we recruit from.
Absolutely, yeah. So we only go to our members, obviously, and you become part of that pool. So you know you'll get a tap on the shoulder if we think you're good for it, or if you see it and want to apply. And
it's always the people who show up the most that we actually get to know better and can place. So
100%.
If you join and you're active and you attend the events, then we get to know you,
Yeah.
we can trust you and put you into a job.
Definitely.
Another benefit is the meetup season ticket. So we run meetups 4 times a year in the major cities in Australia. And it's $50 to attend each one. And so if you wanted to go to just about every single meetup event that we had, it would cost you about $1,000.
Yeah.
And so a meetup season ticket gives you access to absolutely every single one. So if you're able to do the full tour with us, it's worth up to $1,000.
That would be incredible. Imagine someone did the full tour.
That would be amazing. But basically, when you become an annual member, you get this meetup season ticket. It gives you access to every single event. You don't have to worry about forking out, money for a new ticket every single time. You can bank on going to the next one. And basically, it's kind of like just, when you buy an AFL membership, you're like, all right, I'm going to go to 11 home games this season. It's like, I'm buying a SportsGrad membership. We're going to go to 4 meetup events this season. Yeah. And it just helps you kind of put your networking on autopilot. You don't have to think, how am I going to network? Who am I going to network with? Where am I going to find them? It's just like, just get a membership, you get the season ticket, rock up 4 times a year when we announce the dates, and your career grows from there. So it's an easy way to meet people in sport in person.
Yeah. We send you basically a little code before each event, and it's the easiest thing ever. So it's as easy as that. The last thing we want to chat about is our private Discord server, which is absolutely bananas, I think we can probably say. But that basically is a member-only Discord server. If you've never used Discord before, it's kind of like Microsoft Teams or Slack, if you've used that. And that's got all our members in one place. And we've got different channels of different things. We've got, obviously, job boards, as I mentioned. We've got different content channels. You can talk about all sorts of different topics. We've got meetup channels, which are huge. It's where people post to connect with each other. It's also where we post all of our events, our coffee catch-ups, Run Club as well, which we've started. It is basically your spot to keep up with everything that's happening, connect with members, and find out exactly what is happening and connect across the community. So it's a crazy, crazy place. Over 40-odd channels, but that is the one-stop shop for being a SportsGrad member.
Nice. Very good. Quick word on pricing, because this has changed in the last, in recent times.
Yeah.
So for almost 2 years, we didn't change the price of being a SportsGrad member. I think it was like about $220 or something for a long, long time.
I remember the days.
Yeah. And last year we changed it, and when we did it was a sudden jump for everyone. But we raised the price because the community was becoming more valuable. And with every new member who joins, and with every new corporate member who joins, such as Champion Data, Kojo, the Victorian Institute of Sport, the SportsGrad community gets stronger. So this concept is known as network effects, where the value of a network becomes more valuable as more people add to it. So because the value of this product, this membership, is based on who's in it, rather than shock you with the next big jump, we're going to be transparent with you and tell you how we plan to incrementally increase the price by $15 over time as the network grows stronger. So, for example, last year it was $350 to join in September and in November. For our February intake this year, we thought we'll give people one last chance at joining at $350. So we froze the price for Feb. For our May intake, it's going to go up by $15. So it's going to be $365. And then a quarter later, in August, it's going to go up to $380. And then in November, it's going to go up to $395. And by that time, we should have, a few hundred more members, dozens more corporate members as well. So the ability to grow your network quickly and get access to jobs and grow your career and your life and find dream jobs and everything just gets so much easier. And so with that, comes a slightly higher price, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. And the other thing with that is it runs at an annual membership, right? So
Yes.
it's an annual fee that you pay. But if you buy at this price, it stays at that price.
Yes.
So say you join in May, it's $365. You pay $365 each time. So it doesn't go up as we go. So there's an incentive to join, and that price stays the same.
Yeah. So goes without saying, but obviously if you want to, lower price, join sooner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Another question we get often is, what's the commitment like? Like how much time does it take being a member?
Yeah. I think like anything, it's totally up to you how much time you spend on this. But we sort of think that about 2 or 3 hours a week is reasonable. So basically what you can do with that time is, join an event or watch a job fair back or a career Q&A by going to the resource hub, chatting with people and connecting. It's designed to be kind of like an always-on conference where you can tap in, tap out, jump in as you like, and, obviously work around with your work and your study and fit it around that. In terms of our events, people join them from the car. People join them from the gym sometimes. We've had people join from a stadium. Chris McPherson was at the Central Coast Mariners game, I think, and joined our speed networking night.
I think he's done it twice. I think he was at a Sydney Kings game as well.
Yeah. He
just tuned in from
He's done it a
courtside.
few times. So, in terms of the vibe, it's a super casual vibe. Most people are going to join from their desk, but it's okay. If you don't want to join every single event, you don't have to. Or if you just want to join for a part of it, you can do that as well. So we also record everything. So if you can't give a certain amount of time each week, you can go back and watch it. The analogy we like to say is imagine swapping 1 hour of scrolling for no reason and putting that into your career. You're going to see some seriously good results and your career is going to be trending up from there. So 2 or 3 hours, we say, and that should get you some really good results real quick.
Absolutely. I think we've covered just about everything. Probably the final thing is how do I join?
Yeah.
So
how does one do all this?
So we mentioned the rookie intake opens on Tuesday, 9 a.m, the 14th of May, and it'll be open until midnight on the 15th of May. So you got 2 full days to join. That's Australian time, by the way, Australian Eastern Standard Time. But until then, if you want to be notified and put your name on the wait list, go to sportsgrad.com.au/community and add your email address in there. That will give you some stuff to get started on, and your name will go into the wait list and you'll be notified in the weeks leading up to it when we are about to open the doors, so you will not miss the next intake. So add your name to the wait list, or if you're a full-time professional and you think you're ready for pro, head to the website and send us your application there at any time. We'd love to see you in that group too.
Amazing. In the meantime, find us on LinkedIn. Give us some love if you love the show, and send it to a mate. Or if you know someone who isn't quite sure if they want to join the community or not, send them this episode. It gives a pretty good overview of what we're doing at SportsGrad. In the meantime, subscribe on Apple or follow on Spotify. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Hey friends, one last thing before you go. If you really want to make an impact in sport, then subscribe to the SportsGrad newsletter. Inside, we share all the latest job openings and networking events, so you're always aware of opportunities to land a job and grow your network. Plus, we share a Q&A with a professional on how they grow their career in sport. Here we talk about things like how they moved overseas or negotiated their salary or landed a new job or promotion, made a career change, and so much more. It's kind of like a little boost of inspiration in your inbox before the weekend. So if you're like us, you're career driven and you're keen to progress quickly, you're going to love the SportsGrad newsletter. To get it, head to sportsgrad.com.au/newsletter to subscribe or follow the link in the show notes. See you next time.